when your soul feels heavy, when the air feels thick and every breath takes effort, when you wake up and your first thought isn't joy but weariness, this message is for you. You may not be able to explain it. You may not even know when it began. But somehow, somewhere along the way, your heart grew tired. Tired of trying. Tired of pretending. Tired of holding it all together while the world keeps asking for more. You smile for others because that's what people expect. You show up, you do your best. But deep inside there's a silence that no one hears. A quiet ache that whispers, I can't keep doing this. Sometimes you look around and wonder, why does life feel so heavy when I have so much? Why does my heart feel empty even when my hands are full? Maybe it's not sadness, not really. It's just tiredness, a kind that runs deeper than sleep can reach. Soft piano notes. When you were younger, you thought by this age life would feel more certain, that you'd have it all figured out. Career, family, faith, peace. But now you see that peace isn't found in answers. It's found in stillness. And stillness in this noisy world feels almost impossible. You scroll through endless screens. You try to drown the thoughts with sound. Music, podcasts, television. Anything to fill the space where your mind won't stop talking. But no matter how much you consume, the silence in your soul remains. You're not alone in that. So many people carry this invisible weight. They walk among us every day, smiling, joking, working, while quietly asking, how much longer can I keep going like this? Short pause. Sometimes it's not one big thing that breaks you. The little thing. He hid in caves, he ran for his life. And yet he wrote words that have healed hearts for thousands of years. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He restores my soul. Those aren't just verses to memorize. They're lifelines written by a man who had nothing left but faith. Pause, soft background strings join in. When your soul feels heavy, you don't need to fix everything. You don't need to explain the pain. You just need to rest, not in sleep but in God's presence. Sometimes rest doesn't mean doing nothing. It means allowing yourself to feel, to stop pretending you're okay, and to sit quietly while God whispers comfort into the cracks of your heart. There's something sacred about admitting, I'm not strong today, because that's where God begins his work. Not in your strength, but in your surrender. Let go for just a moment of all that you're holding. The expectations, the plans, the failures, the regrets. Lay them down one by one. Imagine placing them at his feet. Every worry, every doubt, every weight. And as you do, breathe slowly. Inhale grace. Exhale fear. Inhale peace. Exhale control. You don't have to be perfect to come to him. You just have to be honest. Pause. Piano plays a reflective melody. There are moments in life when words fail. When prayer feels impossible. When all you can do is sit in the dark and hope that light still exists. The Psalms were made for those moments. They are not just poems, they are cries from the depths. They are songs written by those who walked through fire and found God waiting on the other side. Out of the depths I cry to you, Lord. My soul finds rest in God alone. The Lord is close to the broken-hearted. If your soul feels heavy tonight, let these words be a soft place to land. Let them remind you that you don't walk alone. God has seen every tear. He knows every fear. And even now he is holding you gently, waiting for you to rest your heart in his hands. Music shifts into gentle crescendo. Sound of wind or sea waves fades in. You don't have to rush this moment. You don't need to move forward yet. Just stay here, in the quiet. Let the stillness hold you. This is not the end of your story. The heaviness you feel, it will not last. So as you listen to the Psalms tonight, don't listen with your mind, listen with your heart. Let the words move through you like gentle light through dark water. Let them remind you that even when everything feels lost, you are still loved, you are still seen. and you are still being carried. Music softens warm light tone. The Lord has not forgotten you. He hasn't turned away. He's right here whispering softly. Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. So breathe. Let your shoulders fall. Let the tightness in your chest begin to ease. You are safe. You are loved. And tonight you can rest. This is your moment of stillness. A sacred pause in a noisy world. Let the book of Psalms speak now. Let it be the sound that carries you from heaviness to peace. There is something sacred about the Psalms. They are more than poetry. They are the echo of human hearts calling out to God. Sometimes in joy, sometimes in sorrow, always in truth. Each psalm is a window into the soul, a place where fear, doubt, hope, and faith meet. When life feels heavy, these words become a gentle light, reminding us that no matter what we face, we are never alone. So now, find a quiet place. Breathe. Let these ancient words speak softly into your heart. Let them remind you that God still listens. Psalm 23, The Lord is my shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restores my soul. Soft pause. This psalm is one of comfort, a promise of care and presence. When life feels uncertain, it reminds us that God guides even through the shadows. He doesn't drive us forward like a taskmaster. He leads us, gently, patiently. And even when we wander, He follows, calling us back to peace. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. The valley may be dark, but it's not forever. You don't walk through it alone. There is a shepherd beside you. Not ahead, not behind, but beside you. Soft instrumental swell, slow strings. He restores your soul. That means everything that's been worn down. Your faith, your hope, your strength. He brings back to life. Not all at once, but slowly, gently, like spring returning after winter. So if your heart is tired tonight, remember, you are being led beside still waters. You are being restored. Psalm 27, The Lord is my light and my salvation. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? Fear is a thief. It takes our peace before anything else can. But Psalm 27 reminds us, light still shines, even in the darkness of fear. There are moments when faith feels far away, when you can't see what's ahead, when every path looks uncertain. But light doesn't need to be bright to be real. Even a single flame can guide you home. Though an army besiege me, my heart will not fear. What a statement of faith, not because life was easy, but because David knew something deeper. God is not distant. He stands beside you in the battle, and His light can reach even the deepest shadows. Pause, soft piano melody. Maybe your battle isn't on the outside, but within. The fight to stay hopeful, to forgive, to keep believing that good still exists. Psalm 27 whispers to that part of your soul. You don't need to be fearless. You only need to remember where your light comes from. Wait for the Lord, be strong and take heart and wait for the Lord. Sometimes faith is not about action. It's about waiting. Waiting, trusting, breathing, until the light returns. Psalm 34, The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. I sought the Lord and He answered me. He delivered me from all my fears. Those who look to Him are radiant. Their faces are never covered with shame. This psalm is for the brokenhearted, for those who have lost something they love deeply. Loss changes you. It doesn't ask permission, it just arrives and stays a while. It makes the world feel smaller, quieter. And yet, Psalm 34 promises something extraordinary. God is close to the brokenhearted. Not above, not far away, close. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted, and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Soft violin joins the melody. When you cry, your tears don't fall unnoticed. They are prayers in liquid form. Each one whispers a story to heaven. A story of love, of loss, of endurance. And God hears every one of them. So don't rush your healing. Don't hide your pain. Even in the ache you are being, the broken pieces of your heart. He knows each one by name. And in time he will make them whole again. Psalm 46, Be still and know. God is our refuge and strength, an ever-present help in trouble. Therefore we will not fear, though the earth give way, and the mountains fall into the heart of the sea. The world often feels unstable. Politics, war, chaos, noise. It's easy to believe that peace is impossible. But Psalm 46 reminds us, peace is not found in the absence of trouble. It's found in the presence of God. Be still and know that I am God. Such simple words, but so hard to live. Being still doesn't mean doing nothing. It means resting your soul in trust. It means pausing the endless search for control, and letting God be enough for this moment. Soft background, slow heartbeat rhythm, ambient piano. There is a stillness waiting for you. Not after everything is fixed, but right here, right now. It's the stillness that whispers, you are safe, you are loved, you can let go. When life feels like waves crashing around you, remember that you're not called to fight the storm. You're called to rest in the one who calms it. Psalm 91, Shelter under his wings. Whoever dwells in the shelter of the Most High will rest in the shadow of the Almighty. There is a deep peace in those words. A picture of safety, warmth, and belonging. Like a child under a blanket. Like a bird under the wing of its mother. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. Soft harp and choral hum in background. When fear rises, when anxiety whispers lies, run to this shelter. There is room for you there. You don't need to earn it. You only need to come as you are. The world may not understand your peace, because it doesn't come from circumstances. It comes from presence of the Almighty, a love that shields, heals, and restores. You may walk through danger. You may face uncertainty, but the psalm reminds you, your dwelling place is secure. Your soul is protected. He will command his angels concerning you, to guard you in all your ways. What a beautiful promise. Even when you cannot see it, you are being guarded. Psalm 121. My help comes from the Lord. Every psalm you've just heard was written in the tension between pain and peace. That's why they speak to us so deeply, because they are human. They know what it means to hurt, to question, to hope again. Each verse is like a step on the road home, a reminder that even when faith feels small, it's still enough. Faith doesn't have to roar. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it's just a quiet decision to keep breathing, to keep believing that morning will come. Slow piano melody builds, warm, comforting tone. You may not feel strong tonight, and that's okay. Strength was never meant to come from you alone. The Psalms remind us that true strength comes from surrender, from resting in the arms of the one who never leaves. So let these words echo in your heart long after the music fades. He restores my soul. He is my light and my salvation. He is close to the brokenhearted. Be still and know. He will cover you with his wings. My help comes from the Lord. Each one is a promise. Each one is an anchor. Each one is a whisper from heaven saying, you are safe now. You can rest. There are moments in life when silence becomes sacred. After the tears, after the prayers that felt unanswered, there comes a stillness, not empty but full. In that stillness something happens. You begin to feel the weight lift, not because the pain disappears, but because your heart begins to understand, you were never meant to carry it alone. The book of Psalms teaches us this truth again and again. David never pretended to be strong. He wept, he doubted, he feared. But through every valley he called upon the name of the Lord, and that was enough. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He restores my soul. Psalm 23 verses 1-3. These words are not simply ancient poetry. They are medicine for weary souls. They remind us that rest is not found in escape but in trust. When your soul feels heavy, the shepherd calls you to rest, not in comfort but in his presence. The weight you carry. We live in a world that constantly asks us to be strong, to keep going, to pretend that everything is fine. But the Psalms whisper a different truth. It's okay to be broken. It's okay to stop. Because in the breaking, God rebuilds. In the silence, he speaks. And in the waiting, he works. Those who sow in tears will reap with songs of joy. Psalm 126 verse 5. Every tear you've cried has been seen. Every fear you've held has been heard. You are not forgotten, not by the one who shaped you from dust and breathed life into your lungs. There is a verse in Psalm 56 that says, "You have kept count of my tossings, put my tears in your bottle." Imagine that, every sleepless night, every whispered why. God has kept it all. Not one tear wasted. What kind of love does that? Only a love that never gives up on you. The renewal of faith. Faith is not the absence of doubt. It's the courage to keep trusting even in the dark. When David was hiding in caves, surrounded by enemies, his faith didn't make the danger disappear. It gave him the strength to sing in the darkness. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Psalm 23 verse 4. The valley is still there. The shadows remain. But when you know who walks beside you, the fear begins to fade. Perhaps you too have been walking through a valley. The loss of someone you love, the weight of regret, the silence of unanswered prayers. The Psalms do not tell you to ignore these things. They teach you to bring them to God. To bring your heartbreak, your confusion, your weariness, and to let him hold it all. Moments of quiet faith. There's a special kind of peace that comes when you stop fighting life and start resting in God. It's not loud or dramatic. It's quiet, like the soft light before dawn. The Psalms describe it perfectly. In peace I will lie down and sleep. For you alone, Lord, make me dwell in safety. Psalm 4 verse 8. This verse is a lullaby for the soul. It reminds you that even when the world feels unsafe, your heart can still find rest. You don't have to understand everything to trust God's plan. You don't have to see the end of the road to know you're being led somewhere good. He will cover you with his feathers, and under his wings you will find refuge. Psalm 91 verse 4. Picture that for a moment. A divine shelter, warm and close. A refuge not built by hands but by love. The turning point. There's a moment when pain becomes prayer. When your cries turn into worship, not because you've stopped hurting, but because you've realized that God is still worthy, even in your sorrow. That's what Psalm 42 captures. Why, my soul, are you downcast? Why so disturbed within me? Put your hope in God. For I will yet praise him. I will yet praise him. Even now. Even here. That is faith reborn, faith that has walked through fire and come out shining. It's the moment when your tears become a song. When your pain becomes purpose. When your heart, once heavy, begins to lift, not because the burden is gone, but because it's no longer yours to carry. Peace beyond understanding. The Lord gives strength to his people. The Lord blesses his people with peace. Psalm 29 verse 11. Peace is not the absence of trouble, it's the presence of God in the middle of it. And that peace, once you've tasted it, changes everything. You begin to move slower. You begin to breathe deeper. You begin to notice beauty again, the morning light, the laughter of a child, the sound of rain. You start to see that God never left. He was in every moment, even the hard ones. And now your soul, once heavy, begins to glow with quiet strength. This is what the Psalms offer us. Not escape, but renewal. Not denial, but redemption. The prayer of a restored soul. Now close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. And let this prayer sink into your heart. Create in me a clean heart, O God, and renew a right spirit within me. Psalm 51 verse 10. This is the prayer of a soul that has been broken, healed, and made new. It doesn't ask for a perfect life. Only a pure heart. Because when your heart is clean, even the pain becomes holy. Even the struggle becomes sacred. Every scar becomes a story. Not of what you lost, but of what God restored. Gratitude after the storm. When you reach this place of peace, gratitude begins to flow naturally. Not forced, not because life is suddenly perfect, but because you've seen God's goodness even in the storm. Give thanks to the Lord, for He is good. His love endures forever. Psalm 136 verse 1. You begin to thank Him for the small things, the breath in your lungs, the warmth of the sun, the gift of another morning. And somehow, the weight that once crushed you now becomes a memory of how strong God's love truly is. The soul that once whispered, "I can't go on," now says softly, "I am still here, and I am not alone." The gentle ending. As the music fades and the light softens, remember this. Every soul that feels heavy has a place to rest. Every heart that feels lost has a home to return to. And that home is not in the world. It's in the arms of the one who made you. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. Psalm 23 verse 6. Let that promise be your anchor. Let it be the melody that carries you through the night. Because even when your soul feels heavy, God's hand is still gentle, His voice still kind, and His love, always enough. Closing reflection. So tonight, before you close your eyes, let your heart rest in this truth. You are loved. You are seen. You are not forgotten. The same God who spoke the stars into being still whispers peace into your heart. Listen to Him. Trust Him. And let your soul breathe again. When your soul begins to breathe again, you notice something. The world hasn't changed much, but you have. The storms still come, the winds still blow, but the weight that once crushed you no longer owns you. Peace has taken root deep inside, and it begins to grow quietly like light at dawn. This is the hidden miracle of the Psalms. They don't promise a life without trouble. They teach you how to live within it without losing yourself. They turn pain into prayer and prayer into strength. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Psalm 27 verse 1. Light. It begins small, a flicker of faith, a whisper of hope. But soon, it spreads through the darkness of your heart, warming every cold corner that sorrow once claimed. From survival to strength. At first you simply survive. You wake up. You breathe. You make it through another day. And that's enough, for a while. But slowly the Psalms begin to teach you something deeper. You were never made just to survive. You were made to shine. He lifted me out of the slimy pit, out of the mud and mire. He set my feet on a rock and gave me a firm place to stand. Psalm 40 verse 2. Each verse is like a step out of the pit. A word of God becoming a stone beneath your feet, solid, strong, unshakable. And as you climb, you start to see the world again, not as a place of fear, but as a place of grace. You realize, the same valley that once broke you has now built you. The pain that silenced you has become your testimony. You're not the same person who began this journey. You're softer but stronger. You've been refined, not ruined. the song of the strength to rise again. He trains my hands for battle, my arms can bend a bow of bronze. Psalm 18 verse 34. These are not words of weakness. They're the anthem of someone who has walked through despair and found divine strength. God doesn't just comfort you, He empowers you. He teaches your soul to fight, not with anger or pride, but with love and endurance. Because true faith is not fragile. It doesn't shatter under pressure, it glows brighter. Every hardship becomes a forge, shaping your spirit into something unbreakable. You learn to face the day with courage. You wake up not asking, "Why me?" but whispering, "Use me." You start to live not from fear but from faith, not from scarcity but from abundance. The Lord is my strength and my shield, my heart trusts in Him and He helps me. Psalm 28 verse 7. Your heart begins to trust again. Not because life has guaranteed safety but because love has guaranteed presence. And in that presence there is power. The quiet nights. The nights are still quiet but they no longer feel lonely. You've learned how to rest in the dark. To let the silence cradle you instead of consume you. You start to notice small miracles in ordinary moments. The softness of candlelight, the hum of distant rain, the warmth of your own breath. Each one a reminder that life, even when heavy, is still sacred. I lie down and sleep, I wake again because the Lord sustains me. Psalm 3 verse 5. Even your sleep becomes a kind of worship, a declaration of trust. Because to rest is to say, "God, I know you've got me." And when you wake, the morning light greets you like an old friend, gentle, kind, familiar. You smile because you've made it through another night. You are still here, still held, still loved. The legacy of faith. As time passes, something beautiful takes root. Your pain becomes part of your wisdom. Your story becomes a bridge for others to walk across. The Psalms have done their work. They've turned your sorrow into strength, your weakness into wisdom. You no longer speak from theory but from experience. You know what it means to be carried. You know what it means to fall and rise again. Let the redeemed of the Lord tell their story. Psalm 107 verse 2. Now your story matters, not because it's perfect but because it's real. Someone out there needs to hear that healing is possible. That peace is real. That God still meets people in their darkest nights. And you are the proof. The dawn after darkness. The Psalms often end where they began, with praise. It's not a shallow joy but a deep, steady gratitude, born from pain, tested by time, proven by faith. You turned my mourning into dancing. You removed my sackcloth and clothed me with joy. Psalm 30 verse 11. This is the promise. What was once a burden becomes a blessing. What was once a wound becomes a window through which God's light shines. You learn that joy is not the opposite of sorrow, it's the fruit of it. The deeper your suffering, the deeper your capacity for love. The heavier your cross, the greater your compassion. And now, when your soul feels heavy, you no longer despair. You listen. You return to the Psalms. You let the words wash over you again, and again, and again. Each time they sound a little different, because you are different. You've grown. You've healed. You've been changed. A final whisper of grace. Surely I have calmed and quieted my soul, like a weaned child with its mother. Psalm 131 verse 2. This verse captures the destination of every weary heart. Quiet surrender. You no longer strive. You no longer resist. You rest, not in ignorance but in intimacy. You've learned to trust the one who sees beyond your pain. You've learned to let go, not because you're strong but because you're safe. And that safety, that sacred stillness, is the truest gift of all. Now you walk through life with gentleness. You speak slower. You listen deeper. You forgive faster. Because the soul that has known darkness no longer takes light for granted. The heart that has been healed no longer fears breaking. It simply keeps loving. Closing benediction. So if tonight your soul still feels heavy, if your heart still trembles under the weight of what you carry, remember this. You are seen. You are held. And you are being led through a valley that ends in light. The Lord will perfect that which concerns me. Psalm 138 verse 8. He is not finished with you. The story is not over. The dawn is coming. So breathe, beloved soul. Breathe deeply. You've come so far. And grace has carried you every step of the way. There comes a time, after all the weeping, all the silence, and all the surrender, when the soul begins to shine again. Not with the restless brightness of the world, but with a quiet, holy light. A light that has walked through darkness and learned to stay. It is the light that does not boast. It simply glows. It doesn't demand attention. It invites peace. That is what happens when you have lived through your own valley and met God there. You come out softer but braver. You carry a tenderness that the world cannot fake. A gentleness born from grace, not from ease. And this is where the journey of the Psalms leads you, not just to find peace but to become peace for others. Arise, shine, for your light has come, and the glory of the Lord rises upon you. Isaiah 60 verse 1. Though it's not from the Psalms, it captures the heart of every healed soul. Light returning to the world through a human heart. The light that comes from wounds. You begin to realize that your wounds no longer define you, they refine you. Every scar becomes a doorway through which compassion enters. You no longer hide your story. You share it, not to gain pity but to give hope. The Psalms whisper this lesson. Those who have walked through fire carry warmth for the cold. Those who have known sorrow learn to comfort the sorrowful. The Lord is near to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Psalm 34 verse 18. You are no longer afraid of brokenness, yours or anyone else's. You've seen what God can do with it. You've watched Him take ashes and make beauty. And so you move through the world differently now. Slower, kinder, listening more than speaking, giving more than receiving. Because when God heals you, He doesn't just restore you. He turns you into a vessel for His love, becoming a refuge. Think of what the Psalms have taught you. When you were weary, they were your shelter. When you were afraid, they were your shield. When you were lost, they were your compass. Now, God invites you to become that for someone else. To be a voice of calm when others panic. To be a presence of peace when others crumble. To be the one who says, "You're not alone," and truly means it. Blessed is the one who trusts in the Lord, whose confidence is in Him. They will be like a tree planted by the water, that sends out its roots by the stream. Psalm 1 verse 3. A tree by the stream, that's what you've become. Deep roots, steady trunk, open branches. Your life now offers shade to those who walk in heat, fruit to those who hunger, and stillness to those who need rest. This is the quiet power of a healed soul. It becomes a refuge without even trying. The ministry of presence. You may never preach a sermon, never stand on a stage, never quote scripture perfectly. But the way you live, the patience in your eyes, the kindness in your tone, the peace in your silence, becomes its own sermon. That is what the Psalms have been doing all along, teaching your heart to echo God's rhythm. Now your very presence carries that rhythm into every room you enter. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46 verse 10. This verse is not just for meditation, it's for living. When you live in that stillness, people around you feel it. They slow down. They breathe deeper. They soften. You don't need to fix them, you just need to be near. Your peace speaks louder than your words. Your quiet confidence in God becomes a mirror for others to see themselves differently. This is how light spreads, one soul at a time, one act of gentleness at a time. The flow of grace. Once you were the one praying for strength. Now, without even realizing it, your prayers cover others. You find yourself interceding, not out of duty but out of empathy. The Psalms have taught you how to cry to God, but also how to carry others in your cry. You whisper their names into your prayers like petals floating down a river of grace. Let my prayer be counted as incense before you, and the lifting up of my hands as the evening sacrifice. Psalm 141 verse 2. Your life becomes worship, not in performance but in posture. The way you drive, the way you speak, the way you forgive, all become sacred offerings. You begin to live aware of every moment. Every sunrise feels like a psalm. Every breath feels like a verse. Every heartbeat a quiet hallelujah. Seeing God everywhere. You start to recognize God's fingerprints in places you once overlooked. In the laughter of a child. In the shimmer of morning dew. In the kindness of a stranger holding the door open. In the courage of someone who keeps going despite the pain. The earth is the Lord's and everything in it. Psalm 24 verse 1. The Psalms open your eyes, not to a distant heaven, but to the sacredness of everyday life. You begin to see that holiness is not confined to churches or rituals. It's in the way you treat people. It's in the quiet thank yous. It's in every moment you choose love instead of resentment, patience instead of anger, hope instead of despair. You realize that you don't have to chase God. He's already here in everything. The joy of surrender. Before, surrender felt like defeat. Now it feels like freedom. You no longer cling to outcomes, timelines, or expectations. You've learned that peace comes not from control but from trust. Commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will act. Psalm 37 verse 5. You let go, again and again. And each time you do, you fall not into emptiness but into grace. You begin to see how everything, every delay, every heartbreak, every detour, was leading you closer to His heart. And you whisper softly, it was always you. Surrender becomes a daily rhythm. To wake with open hands, to walk with open eyes, to love with open heart. You stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start saying, what is God teaching me through this? That shift changes everything. You stop fearing tomorrow. You start living today, deeply, fully, gratefully. Becoming the Psalm. There's a line in Psalm 119 that says, your word is a lamp for my feet, a light on my path. At first you followed that light. Now you carry it. Now you become it. Every choice, every act of love, every moment of faithfulness becomes a living psalm, a song that only your life can sing. You are no longer just reading the book of Psalms. You are living it. Your patience is a psalm. Your forgiveness is a psalm. Your resilience, your laughter, your hope, all psalms written not with ink but with grace. The scriptures have moved from paper to pulse, from ancient words to living testimony. And that, perhaps, is what God always intended. That His word would not just be read but revealed, through you. The gift of peace to the world. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make His face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn His face toward you and give you peace. Numbers 6:24-26. Peace is no longer something you seek, it's something you give. Your calmness in crisis becomes a safe harbor for those still lost at sea. Your quiet faith becomes an anchor for those still tossed by waves. You walk through the world differently now, not hurried, not hardened. You move with purpose, with grace, with the steady confidence of one who knows. Surely goodness and mercy will follow me all the days of my life. And it does. Because mercy is now the rhythm of your heart. Goodness is now the language of your life. Wherever you go, the atmosphere shifts, not because of who you are, but because of whose peace you carry. Crescent moon, the eternal whisper. As the night falls and the music softens, you realize something sacred. The journey never really ends. You will always return to the Psalms. Not out of habit, but out of hunger. Because every time you read them, they meet you in a new place. When you're afraid, they comfort you. When you're strong, they humble you. When you're grateful, they amplify your joy. Let everything that has breath praise the Lord. Psalm 150 verse 6. And so you do. In words, in silence, in laughter, in tears. Your life itself becomes praise, not perfect but sincere, not loud but luminous. Every day you rise and rest in the rhythm of divine grace, breathing in mercy, breathing out peace. Sunrise closing reflection. You are the light. When your soul feels heavy, remember, you've been here before, and God met you there. He will meet you again. When the world feels dark, remember, you carry His light now. You are the living proof that beauty can rise from ashes. So keep shining, quietly, humbly, faithfully. Keep loving even when it's hard. Keep trusting even when you can't see the way. Because somewhere, someone's soul feels heavy tonight. And your light may be the only reminder they need. That God still heals. That hope still lives. That love still wins. The Lord will bless His people with peace. Psalm 29 verse 11. And in that peace may you rest. May you rise. And may you shine, always.